Welcome back to the Scott Hepler Football Channel. This afternoon we're doing a predicted lineup of the West Brom Tottenham game coming up on the 7th of February. So this is my predicted lineup, but that I would put out with the caveat of the Premier League's not our primary focus for our efforts and energy in placing our resources for us to get into European football next season. My predicted lineup is going to be more geared towards putting most of our primary resources towards being competitive in the FA Cup, the English Cup, and the Europa League. So I feel that's our best chance of actually getting European competition for next season, and that's what I'm going to talk about here. So, and you'll see me looking up to the right because I got all my notes and everything up over here. So if you see me looking away, it's not because I'm ignoring y'all. So regardless of whether we're going for full competition or not, I think Hugo should be our keeper. And just because he's not going to get overworked, he doesn't put, the position doesn't require a lot of effort. And so therefore, especially against West Brom, I don't think it's a risk or anything for us to put Lloris in goal. So I think Lloris should be in goal. Next, oh, by the way, I think we should be in more of a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-2 setup. At least going forward, I think a 4-4-2 should morph into a 4-2-4. And then more defensive, we're looking at a 4-4-2. So that's kind of the lineup I'm looking at in the formation. So on left back, I think we should have Tanganga in there. Davies is overworked, for one. He's shown that in multiple games. He's just getting too tired. And while we have Reguilon out, we don't have many options out there in that left wing. We can't keep putting Davies out there game after game after game. So Tanganga's played that a little bit before in the past. He's done okay. I think he can get out there and hold up against West Brom. And they're one guy who does all their offense. They've got one guy that has the team leader in goals and assists. So between four defenders, I hope we can shut one guy down. So I think Tanganga should be out there on that left back. So that's who I have out there. Dyer, I know everyone's all over Dyer right now, and rightfully so. He made some egregious mistakes in the last game, but this is because I think Dyer's not our frontline center back anymore. He's in this game. So I'm going to put Dyer in there as one of our center backs and put him on that left side. Next, I'll put Davidson Sanchez. Again, don't want to have our frontline center backs. I want Toby and Rodon ready to go for that game against Everton. And we're going to need them. Everton's been playing well. They've been more dynamic this season than they've been in a while. So I think we need our strongest pairing of center backs for the game coming up. So definitely think Sanchez can be here. Very underwhelmed by Sanchez for quite a while. I don't even think he's a solid backup. But because we're so thin on outside backs right now, Tanganga's got to be out there. Otherwise, I'd have Tanganga in the middle with Dyer. I just don't think Sanchez provides any quality for us in there. So that's just my opinion. On right back, I'm going to go with Doherty. Aurier kind of got back a little bit last game. No one played great against Chelsea, but at least Aurier wasn't as bad as he was in the previous game. And I think Doherty needs to be in there. Let Aurier rest up for that Everton game. As I said, Everton's going to be a tough game for us, and it's one of the competitions that we need to put our focus in my opinion. So I'm throwing Doherty out there. Again, we're thin at both right and left back, so we just don't have many options. Doherty's going out there. far as midfield, I'm going to go with Winks in the middle as one of the middle central midfielders. I think Hepler needs a break. He was kind of non-existent in that previous game against Chelsea, and he's been one of our rocks that we can lean on all season. And Jose's leaned on him hard all season. The guy has hardly had a break. I think this is the game to do it. Let Winks get in there. I mean, with our second line should be competitive against West Brom, even our second line players. So, and I kind of think Winks is kind of in that second line realm. And so I definitely think Hepler needs a break here. Next, I'm going to put Sissoko in there. Sissoko has been someone who's played a lot with the first team, but with his recent run of performances, I think he's someone that should be moved down the pecking order a little bit. Put him in this game, and then we'll come up with a better option for the Everton game, which honestly, I'll even tell you now what I'm thinking for Everton, because we don't have that many center midfielders right now that are dynamic, with Lo Celso out, Dele out. And Donnelly's really our only dynamic one. I would kind of like to see a 4-2-3-1 in Everton with Hepler and Donnelly and even Lamela. The one thing Lamela did when he came on in the Chelsea game was he brought some energy. And while he can be a little narrow-sighted at times, he gets in there and works. He'll work hard. He'll fight for the ball. He'll press on the ball. And I think that would be a good little combination for us to try with leaving Ndombele up front for that Everton game, because Ndombele can't run back and forth, box to box all game. He just doesn't have the legs to do it. So I see Musa being burned up in this game, or used in this game, so we won't need him in that next game. So that's why I got Sissoko in there. Next out on the, and remember we're here in a 4-4-2. So on the right mid will be Lucas Moura. Put him out there. He's quick, pacey. He's pretty good on the ball, especially 1v1. If you get him, he does dribble into a lot of 2 and 3 defenders and tries to go through all of them. You know, that's the thing he does. The one thing that he does well is dribble and has some pace to him. And, you know, if you give him a decent shot, he's going to take it, and he's got a decent chance at hitting it. It's just what he does without the ball, and he misses because he's doing so much dribbling and trying to go through people. He doesn't have his head up, and he's missing a lot of passes and things he can do with the ball other than just take it himself. But I think he needs to be out on that right side and save Bergwijn for the next game. Left mid, I think we should put Lamela out there. Again, we're kind of thin in these positions. In the wings, it seems like we're thin everywhere except for the back. And in the back, they're just not great options. So I think we should have Lamela in there. And if we need to, we can bring in Song in the last 10, 15 minutes of the game or something like that, or even Bergwijn. But, you know, let's get Lamela out there. He's back healthy. Let's get some use out of him. As far as the 2 forwards, I would use Vinicius. Obviously, we don't have really many forward options. I know Jose keeps saying Son's a forward, center forward, but I don't see it. And I think that's a waste of Son's abilities and talent to stick him in there amongst the center backs. But that's just me. But Vinicius, I think, without many options, and the kid just needs a run of some minutes and see what he can really do. We need to make a determination if we're going to keep this kid or not. So the only way to do that is get him out there and play him. So we'll see what he can do out there. And then the other forward, I'd put up Bell. If you stick Bell in a 4-4-2 up front, he doesn't have to track back like you would out on the wings. And I know a couple games ago during the pregame, Bell said he didn't want to play up front. He wanted to be on the wing. And Jose was just, acquiesced to him. I don't care what the player wants. It's Jose's job as the manager. If that's where he wants him and where it's most beneficial for the team and probably the player, Jose needs to get that player on board with being there. And that's Jose's job. And so if he's not doing that and he's not communicating well and explaining how this helps not only team but the player be effective, that's a failing on Jose's part. Now, on Bell's part, it's a failing that he's not willing to go where Jose asks him to. So, and maybe it's because there's not a good understanding of why. I don't know. We didn't get very much. There's just a quick snippet on Bell was kind of asked, and Bell said no. So it's it's all speculation at this point. But that, to me, it's, you can ask, but if someone says no, at the end of the day, you're the boss. Tell them where to go and tell them how to play and tell them what to do. To me, in a 4-4-2, you stick him up there. He's not tracking back all the time. And the nice thing within the 4-4-2, if it moves into a 4-2-4, between Lamela and Lucas and Bell and Vinicius, they can all kind of intertwine and switch places, and no one necessarily has to get locked into that during the attack. It's just kind of the setup, and allows us to flow back into our defense when we have to in a 4-4-2. But to me, it allows some fluidity too, where if Bell wants to slide out and allow Mora to kind of fill that void that he leaves in the middle, that's an option too. I mean, there's some things that can work there with this formation and those people without having to ask Bell to track back and be that defensive person on the outside also. But to me, this gives us our best option and best opportunity to get a result against West Brom and allow our frontline starters, what I would call our frontline starters, to get a little rest before the Everton game and go into that game saying, hey, this is a game that we're going to really, really want to take serious. We want to win the FA Cup. I mean, if we're going to get any silverware, it's going to be it's definitely not in the Premier League this year. We're just not playing up to snuff. So, with that being said, I predict that we will win. The Spurs will win with 2-1. There is no reason we shouldn't win, even with the lineup that I threw up there. There's enough quality on that lineup for us to get 2 goals against the worst defensive team in the league and not allow them to outscore us against one of the worst offensive teams in the league. I mean, if West Brom is not the team to beat with our second line players, there's no team in the EPL that we can do that with. I mean, they're kind of showing that right now where they're at, they're a championship side, and that's where they're kind of heading at this point in the season. So unless they turn something around significantly, I don't see them beating us. And again, that could be a lot of, if they beat us, it could be a lot of what did we do, what's going on with us, what's going on with this team, what's going on with the organization. So that is my prediction. That's what I think. Please, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you enjoy the content, subscribe. Support the channel. I'd appreciate that. And more than anything, let's have a conversation. Put some comments down what your thoughts are and where you think I'm kind of off base or whatever. But please be respectful, not just to me, but anyone else that comments. Just I ask that, be respectful. Everyone's got their opinions. Everyone doesn't have all the data that someone in the team would have. Like if you're a part of the staff or something, we don't see what practices are and such. We don't see how the players interact with each other and on the practice pitch and within the actually implementing what the coaches are asking and stuff. So we're all kind of speculating a little on what we think's going on and whatnot, but it's also kind of perceived through what Jose does, what Jose says, and the players he sets out there every week and how he sets up the formation. So, it's kind of a interpretive thing that we have to do. And maybe my interpretation's wrong, but hey, I'll be the first to say I don't know it all. I just love the sport, love the Spurs, and would love to see them be doing better. And been a little frustrated, but I think this is an opportunity for us. And let me know what you think. And let's go get a win tomorrow, Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. Let's do it.